How Would You Write It? The podcast where we get a chance to sit down with both storytellers and ask the only question that matters. How would you write it? I am your host, Nania Taylor. In every episode, we dig into the choices behind the craft, the obsessions, the risk, and the rewrites, and the lived experiences that shape the story on the page. Today's guest is a writer who understands outsiders from the inside out. Inside out. Collin Lieberg. He's the author of the historical fantasy adventure Language of Monsters and the screenwriter behind the biopic The Life and the Many Deaths of Humphrey Bogart. And today we're diving into riddles, rebellion, and what it really costs to become a legend. Welcome, Collin.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so very, very, very grateful that you decided to come on How Would You Write It, Collin? And I'm so happy to kind of dive into the language of monsters first. We got to talk about it. I need you to tell the audience give us a little snippet of what the language of monsters is about.
It is about, at its core, it's about family and coming together and discovering what really makes people tick. Through the lens of two twin sisters in the 1920s around the Mediterranean.
Mm-hmm.
One is all she wants to do is just have a nice warm cup of tea, drink her tea, and study dead languages. She's a linguist. She loves solving puzzles. The other is more mechanically inclined and wants to be the first woman to build, design, and fly her own airplane. And they're going about their lives, and they get caught up in a mystery involving their mother, who was kidnapped. And unbeknownst to them, she was kidnapped by someone in a secret organization that deals with mythological monsters and saving ancient magical artifacts and protecting the world.
So they go out to save their mom and go on a great adventure.
They do.
Okay, so Language of Monsters blends Dan Brown style puzzles with Indiana Jones adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Structurally, how did you balance brain over brawn?
Because there's two characters, I was able to kind of bounce back and forth between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So they're both exceptionally smart women.
Mm-hmm.
One is the more brainy of the two, and one is the more impetuous, brawny of the two.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of, like I said, I each chapter alternates between the perspectives. So one was literally solving puzzles. One is training with the weapons, and then combining the two to figure out how to defeat the monster or solve the puzzle.
Did you map the riddles first or the emotional arc of the twins first?
I think I started with the riddles, or I had a riddle, tried to figure out how the twins arc worked, and then kept refining the riddles as I was writing.
Wow.
Because it's a novel, and novels take a very long time to write. And I knew where I wanted them to start, and I knew where I wanted them to end, and I just had to figure out the ways to get there. So the riddles became the key to it.
Well, how did you get
inspired? Kind of surprised me along the way.
But how did you get inspired for the story?
So, two main ways. One, the linguist woman, her name is Periwinkle Prentice. I woke up from the dead of sleep one night and said, Periwinkle Prentice. That's an awesome name for a character. I need to figure out something that goes with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had a cool character name to start off with. Had no idea about her. And the more I thought about it, the more this became a personal story to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the beginning of the story, she is studying for her PhD at a prestigious uh, university in the United Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
I also studied for my PhD at a prestigious university in the United Kingdom,
Wow.
and um, like Periwinkle, who we call Perry, um, end up not getting it. And that was the moment I turned to screenwriting,
Mm-hmm.
was kind of realized I didn't want to be in academia. Um, it wasn't quite for me. I still love what I was studying, but academia and that lifestyle wasn't what I wanted to do. So I went for the much more lucrative and stable career of screenwriter.
Audience, I hope you took that as irony, or sarcastic, or joking.
Yes, yes, very, very much kidding. But it became personal. It explores partly my own reasons. Like I see a lot of myself in Perry as a
Mm-hmm.
academic who realizes academia isn't the real world. It is in fact an ivory tower in its own way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there are more important things to life, family, travel, adventure, fun, that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's me coming to terms with not being in academia anymore.
Okay. So when you switch, and we're going to get back to the language of monsters. So when you switch,
Mhm.
what was your first script about?
Phew. The first script that I never completed
Mm-hmm.
was about a group of people who were trapped in a hurricane in a hotel, and like the power went out, and it was kind of like a drama. And there wasn't much horror to it, but like I can see how it could be a horror these days. But it was just a kind of a character study of various people coming together in one location.
Mm-hmm.
And the first script that I actually completed was a mystery. Um, One of my favorite shows growing up and still of all time is The West Wing. And I live in the DC area.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the first script I actually wrote is a mystery about Secret Service people trying to solve a mystery about who's trying to kill the president, and um, how that affects the world. Um, like most first scripts, it was horrible, but
Yeah.
it was an interesting concept. It was the West Wing meets NCIS, if you will.
Does that script ever
Um,
call you back to go back and, look into it, fill it out, finish it? Does it ever call to you?
uh, like every script, yes, but not really. And can we pause for a moment? I'm going to go water my cat.
Yes.
Thanks for pausing. Um, does that script call to me? In a way, it does,
Mm-hmm.
because I am years removed from when I started screenwriting. I'm a much better writer now. I have more of a handle on the craft, the nature of characters, arcs, and like how to write a pilot in general.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so part of me wants to go write it again just to see how much better of a writer I am.
Mm-hmm. But then
But
you probably got like
also,
1,000 more stories in your head that's like, hey, me first.
exactly. And I'm like, I did this one. Now I have the other stories to do instead.
So why did you make this a novel instead of a script? The language of
Language
monsters.
of Monsters.
Mm-hmm.
I made it a novel in part because of the way Hollywood works these days,
Yeah, with
where
IP.
uh, it's IP,
Mm-hmm.
and that's intellectual property. Hollywood wants something based on something.
Mm-hmm.
It's another check mark. And also three main reasons. it's historical, which theoretically never sells, even though Keira Knightley has made an entire career on historical movies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it is fantasy, which again theoretically never sells
Mm-hmm.
because it's expensive, and also female-led, which again theoretically never sells. Um,
Well, you know, I know.
uh, right. But more to the point was I was studying for my PhD in history. And
Mm-hmm.
so I am a historian at heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually wanted to include a lot of actual history in the novel that and obviously entertaining, but also you learn a little bit along the way. And if I did it as a screenplay, it would cut to like I feel like I'd have to cut out a lot of the actual history involved in the world building, and the history was kind of important to me. So
Yeah.
I wanted to try it as a novel and show some actual history in there.
Okay. So when you woke up with Periwinkle, um,
Hmm.
when did you then say, "Let me build this story around twins and their mother being kidnapped and them going to go try to save her"? Like, how did that expand?
That probably took a week of just kind of brainstorming various ideas
Mm-hmm.
of what kind of story did I want to tell, who are the other characters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Periwinkle Prentice is a cool name. Her sister's name is Peridot. I'm like, oh, that's kind of a cool
Oh,
name
those
too.
I love the P and
Um,
P. Oh, okay. I love
and
that.
their mother's name is yeah, and their mother's name is Primrose. So
The P's.
yeah, so I just kept coming up with kind of fun sounding names,
Mm-hmm.
and did I want it to be a mystery? Did I
Mm-hmm.
want it modern? Did I want um, some of the things that I love reading and seeing stories are spies, history, mysteries, sci-fi. And so I was trying to just think of like what kind of character could I build this around and what do I want her to be? And it was just a bunch of brainstorming ideas, and eventually I landed on historical fantasy adventure.
Yeah, which sounds exciting, and I can't wait to get my hands on the novel to read it. So your protagonists are linguistics and inventors fighting manticores and deciphering riddles. At its core,
Yes.
is this story really about monsters or about identity?
I feel like everything's about identity, um,
Yeah.
and coming to grips with your own identity.
Hmm.
And monsters are just a reflection of that identity.
So what
Of
monsters are the twins really battling then?
they're battling themselves, honestly.
Hmm.
The big finale sequence that I have is Perry she has a boyfriend at university who she doesn't actually like very much,
Okay.
but it was the 20s and he likes her, and
Hmm.
they're courting, and it was she doesn't realize she doesn't like him very much.
Hmm.
But um so she has this big dream sequence of she can see her mother kidnapped at the end of a long bridge, and there's two paths to get to her mother, is either go rescue her boyfriend along the way, or um uh Paradox or Dot's friend, uh suffragette woman,
Hmm.
and she has to come to terms with she's actually a lesbian in the 20s. So
Okay.
it's coming to her identity of
Hmm.
like I can't feel these things. This
Uh-huh.
is
Yeah.
real women, proper
Yeah. This
women
is not
don't
normal.
feel these
Yeah.
things for ladies.
Hmm.
Yeah.
They threw people in
But it
insane
is her
asylums for that. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. So it is her coming to grips with her own identity as a lesbian woman.
I'm
Um,
loving the layers to this. I'm loving it. So the tablet.
And also,
Oh, go ahead. I'm
oh
sorry.
yeah, it's coming to grips with coming to grips with herself as a lesbian, and then um, along the way she realizes that Dot has also known about the secret organization that their mother was in, and coming to terms with
That
um,
she was not part of the
forgiveness.
no.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, oh, my feelings will be hurt. Like, why would you tell me?
That is what Perry thought and was very hurt by it.
Okay, the layers. Okay, okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, the tablet of destinies can't create life or destroy the world. That's
Hmm.
mythic powers, but emotionally, what does it represent? Control, legacy, or language itself?
A little bit of all three of them. Um, the Tablet of Destinies is a use this an actual historical thing. It's a thing from Mesopotamian mythology.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it is an actual real thing if you want to believe that story. Much like Zeus's lightning bolt is a real thing, if
Mm-hmm.
you will. Um, so it represents the literal power over life and death, but also the struggle to realize that everyone is going to die at some point, and what do they want to bring into the world, their legacy, and the monsters in themselves and others they have to defeat to make that.
Okay, I gotta get this book. I gotta get it. Okay. Both twins feel like outsiders, highly gifted but socially disconnected. How much of Perry and Dot is autobiographical, especially given your own pivot away from academia?
I feel like Perry's a little more autobiographical, because I have always felt like an outsider,
Mm-hmm.
even though I am a middle class straight white guy. Theoretically, the world is built for me, and I should, be running the world, if you will. Um, I have empathy,
Mm-hmm.
and
Then that
it
makes
took
you
me a long
different than
time.
a majority of a lot of people. You have empathy.
Yes, I have empathy. But also, I was a nerd in school.
Hmm.
I played D&D.
Hmm.
Um, I had a couple different friends groups where they were all close knit. Um, my high school was the meeting point between two big towns.
Hmm.
So, like the rich kids from one town went, and then the poorer and people of color from my town went.
Hmm.
So I wasn't the poor person of color, so I didn't fit in with the people from my town, and I wasn't the rich kids who had known each other for 15 years already. So even just in high school, I felt out of place
Hmm.
amongst my peer group.
Hmm.
Um, and so I've always felt like an outsider. I was a nerd before it was cool to be a nerd.
Yeah.
Um, I lived abroad for many years. I studied in the Netherlands for a year. I'm shorter than the average Dutch person, but I could theoretically pass as a Dutch person. Somebody did once actually pass me on the street and try to ask for directions, but they were speaking Dutch and I didn't understand them.
Hmm.
Uh, but so I didn't speak the language, and I felt like an outsider there. And then I also studied at a British university with my American accent, so again felt like an outsider there. So just like all of my life, I've kind of fit in, but never really fit in completely. So all of my characters kind of, you know, have that sensibility about them of they're part of something, but they're not wholly part of something. Um, and especially since this is set in the 20s, Perry's a woman in academia, which was almost
Yeah.
unheard of at the time. Um, Dot is an inventor at a company, which again, almost unheard of at the time. In the 20s, in Britain, women didn't have the right to vote yet. So they were, so she's an outsider in that aspect.
Mhm.
Um, and you know, there's still there's a lot of misogyny from certain characters in the book because I
Sure,
tried
because
to
that's the time.
try. Yeah, it's the time period.
Mhm.
Yes.
It's the time period. So you felt more closely aligned with Perry. If you adapted this into a limited series, what's the tonal North Star? Swashbuckling fantasy, dark historical mystery, or something more character driven and intimate?
Whew. I think it would be kind of a dark mystery, a dark character-driven mystery.
Mhm.
Um, there's obviously going to be some adventure, but I think it is a character study at its heart, um, as seen through the lens of language and monsters and just kind of fun action adventure stuff. Um,
Does the story end on a happy note? Is there a continuation, like book two, book three?
I am planning a book two. It ends on a happy note in that they reunite. They rescue their mother. They reunite with um, Dot's best friend, who Perry is secretly in love with.
Mhm.
Um, and
Any sparks? Any little bit of
oh,
sparks?
there's some sparks. There's some
Okay, okay,
sparks.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Um, and they exorcise there's a genie that was possessing somebody. They exorcised that genie. They finally got to say goodbye to their father who died before they were born,
Mhm.
uh, like as a ghost
Mhm.
spirit sort of thing. They finally got to say goodbye properly.
Mhm.
But a monster steals the tablet, so that sets up the next book as they have to go find this monster now.
Now they got to go find that next monster.
Yes.
Have you considered animation or graphic novel adaptation?
I have not, but mostly because I don't know much about those worlds.
Because
Um,
I can see this as an animation anime.
yeah, well, yeah, I could totally see it. And graphic novel, I think, would actually work really well because you could get some of the awesome details
Yes.
of the world. I
Mhm.
could see it. I just I know
I'm just
nothing
throwing it
about
out to the
how to make a
universe,
graphic
Colin.
novel.
I'm just
Yeah,
throwing it out to the universe. I'm just saying, universe
yeah,
is still awesome. And
universe. That I think that would I would be open to it. I would love to see it. Um, I think it would be kind of cool.
where can people find it? Where can people find the novel?
On my hard drive at the moment.
Oh, Colin, when is it coming out?
When I know, you will know. I am currently querying agents and literary agents trying to get it published.
Okay, okay. We're gonna send up all the best luck and energy. And if you can't get it, you can independently publish it.
I can, yes, I do know I can independently publish it, but I'm hoping to get one of the big publishers and get it out into bookstores and have a big promotional sort of
Oh yeah,
thing,
that
have a
would be a
blow up.
great. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
excited and this is why, audience, I haven't read it because typically I've read everything, but this is why I haven't read it because it's on this hard drive. Um, but I am very excited about this novel. I see the layers. I can see the action adventure. I can see the little bit of romance. I can see the 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 drama and trauma of what they're going through. It sounds really great, Colin. I'm excited
thank you.
for this novel for you, and I'm wishing you all the best. But now we got to talk about your script called
Okay.
"One on the life and many deaths of Humphrey Bogart." Now, tell us a little bit about that, and you got to tell me how you got inspired. I know I'm asking you two things at the same time. How did you get
Yeah, yeah.
inspired for Humphrey Bogart or being doing a biopic for him?
Um, this came about slightly less organically than having literally a, a person's name pop into my head while sleeping one night.
Mhm.
Um, this came about because I had been watching a bunch of old Golden Age classic movies
Mhm.
that I had never seen just because I had never grown up watching them. So
Mhm.
I was watching a bunch of Alfred Hitchcock movies and Cary Grant movies and things
Favorite.
like the classics.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I had seen Casablanca, and that is in fact one of my favorite movies of all time. But as I was watching uh, a bunch of Alfred Hitchcock movies, I thought Alfred Hitchcock and Humphrey Bogart, like they're two legends that we know about. Did they ever do a movie together? And so I started doing research. Turns out they never did,
I don't recall.
but no, they never did a movie together. But there is a movie called In a Lonely Place that is the most Hitchcockian
Mm-hmm.
movie that Humphrey Bogart ever made, apparently. There's
Mm-hmm.
kind of a mystery and suspense aspect to it. And it is also from people who know Humphrey Bogart and like knew him at the time, it's the most closely personality wise
Mm-hmm.
to him, where he can be charming one minute and then brutal and violent and just a big jerk the next, like on
Mm-hmm.
on the turn of a dime.
Yeah, I heard that.
Um,
Yeah.
uh, so I was started watching a bunch of old movies and kind of just like started doing research into Humphrey Bogart and found his life fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
He grew up on the like Upper West Side in New York, rich kid, but a rebel, didn't want to do what his parents wanted him to do. He officially never even graduated high school. Um, and and then during my research, discovered that in 1999, the American Film Institute created a list of the greatest 50 greatest American actors of all time, 25 men and 25 women.
Mm-hmm.
And Humphrey Bogart was the top male actor that they voted in.
Mm-hmm.
And
In
I
1999.
was kind of amazed. In 1999, they made this list.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of like, okay, I mean, I like Humphrey Bogart, but like better than Jimmy Stewart, Cary Grant, um, John Wayne, Spencer Tracy, like all these other people. Like, what
Spencer
made him so
Tracy is
great?
like, yeah, Spencer Tracy of all of them.
Right,
Yeah, Spencer Tracy. Yeah.
right. I, so I just started doing research and found his life fascinating of this, rich kid who never took an acting lesson, who didn't even become famous as like a well-known first-rate star literally until his 40s.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what started resonating with me is I'm in my 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Um, his really first big hit was when he was like 42 or 43, and Casablanca was when he was like 43, 44, and all of a sudden he's this massive star.
That's a star.
Um, but you know, how did he get there? So I just started doing research into this, and the more I researched, the more I found how heartbreaking his story is. In the span of 6 to 7 years, um, his dad dies. His best friend who got him into acting dies. One of his sister dies. His other sister has to go into a mental hospital for a while for postpartum depression because they didn't know how to deal with it back then. Um, he gets divorced for the second time. His mother dies, and two of his other his best friend's sister, who was also an actress, she dies, and then two of his other really good friends die. And this is all in the span of like 7 to 8 years. And it was just so tragic of like, how do you deal with so much
You don't get a chance to
emotional,
have.
yeah, emotional turmoil while trying to build a career? One of his wife that he divorced from the second time, his second divorce, she stayed in New York while he's out in Hollywood. So he's got so many. traumatic things going on while trying to build a career in Hollywood.
Mhm.
That like I just found that fascinating.
Mhm.
And then to make it even more personal as we're going along, um, my dad died last year.
Oh, my condolences.
Thank you. So the latest rewrite is kind of me processing my dad's death
Yeah, I
through
can see
these
that
various
because
deaths.
I can see that because he never got a chance to get out of grief. He was getting
In a
hit
way, yeah,
left and right, and he never had a chance to get out of like not. And I'm not saying get out of grief like it's so easy to get over someone's a loved one passing. I'm saying healing and moving on in the light of memory and love of them. He just kept getting hit back and back and back and back and back and back.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And so in a way, it became a way for me to process my grief, but also show how Humphrey Bogart went from um, this rebellious kid to quote unquote the greatest American actor of all time.
Seriously, I mean, in 1999, them adding him as the greatest American screen legend,
Yes.
it speaks to his star power, you know,
Hmm.
um, it, more than technique to me, more than technique to me as an actor. I
Right.
feel like it just lands there for him to be chosen in 1999 over all the other ones. Um,
Out of all the legends that we love, and for good reason, like so many of these people are great and they're in so many fantastic movies that he was chosen. And then what struck me even more was there was kind of a biopic in 1980 that was it was called Bogey.
oh yeah, I remember
But
that.
it was kind of it was critically panned.
Mhm.
Nobody really it's kind of, got wiped under the rug, if you will.
Mhm.
And there hasn't been one since.
You're right. I don't recall.
And I'm like, how? How has there
Yeah,
not been one?
yeah. He has some great, I mean, The Maltese Falcon, Casablanca, and The African Queen were like three of my favorites from him. I know he had more than
Hmm.
that, but those are one of
Oh
my
yeah.
favorites of his movies and his impact. And as you know, you're stating his history as an actor and how he became and how he really didn't have any training in it, you know. And Casablanca was just, I can watch that. It's
I it
every, you know,
it was
you just pull Casablanca. You be like, let's just sit down and watch this movie. And you just never.
yeah.
It's just a
You,
beautiful, well
it,
crafted
it's a
movie.
it's a beautiful movie. The first time I watched it, I was in college,
Hmm.
and I remember I'm watching it. I didn't know much about it because I wasn't a huge film buff person at the time. But I'm like, oh, I recognize that line.
Hmm.
Oh, I recognize that line.
Yeah, all the
Oh, I
lines you
recognize
still
that
recognize
line.
them. Yeah.
And I'm like, those are all from Casablanca?
Hmm. 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 And
It was
that's
just like,
how. God,
yeah, it was just one of those movies where you're like, this is a really good movie. And I literally just saw something on Bluesky over the weekend, a couple days ago, something like that, where somebody was saying, no one believes you that when you say Casablanca is the greatest movie of all time until you go watch Casablanca.
until you go
And
and
then you're
watch
like,
it. Yeah.
yeah,
And you see how fantastically it was filmed, the script, the language, the music, the soundtrack. Like I don't what the music in I don't what do you call it? Like the music playing in the background, the how it
yeah,
brings in the motion
the
of
score.
the
Yeah.
score. Thank you. It's like
Hmm.
everything was pitch perfect for this movie. And like I said, you can still sit down and just
I
watch
watched it
this
last year with my
movie.
wife who had never seen it. And
It's a movie
and
that
what
just
I also find fascinating about Casablanca is it was just a it was just another movie in the Hollywood system like kind of almost like a remake of a remake. The
Mhm.
same story had gone on. They'd done multiple kind of takes of that. They're literally writing it during filming with like three or four different writers who all didn't know that they were writing it. So like the director would give one writer a pass, and then he'd give those notes to some other people and like go make this. Um, and nobody knew how it was actually going to end. So the famous scene at the airport where uh, Ilsa Ingrid Bergman's character, is deciding whether she's going to stay with Humphrey Bogart or go with Paul Henreid's character.
Mhm.
Um, as they're filming it, they didn't know which ending they were going to go with because they'd actually written two endings where one she stays with Bogey and one she goes in the plane. And
Mhm.
so the director is like, just play it in the middle.
Mhm.
Um,
It worked.
I mean, it worked,
Mhm.
but like no one, as they're filming it, thought this was going to be a classic movie that is quoted 75 years later.
Yes. And isn't that just the magic of it all? You never know what is going to, stand the test of time across
Exactly. Yeah.
generations, across
Yeah.
generations.
Hmm.
And that's probably why he was the one who made the American Film Institute, because it did stand the test of time. I love Cary Grant. Don't get me wrong; he's my favorite
Yeah.
actor,
Yeah.
but I don't think he has anything that would hold up to Casablanca. I don't think there is
Yeah.
one. You don't have one. You know, maybe some stuff that he did with Mae West. Maybe I'm talking about
Maybe. I
dialogue
mean,
that you may repeat. You may repeat, but that's Mae West's dialogue that you may repeat, not his dialogue.
right.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I see
I
why
don't know.
now.
Yeah.
Why?
And it just happened to hit at the right time, during World War II, like right around when Casablanca was released, the Allies actually invaded North Africa and liberated Casablanca, so that helped propel
Yeah.
it. It was just right moment, right time. Um, just an interesting story that blew up and became a classic.
Wow. Okay. So, what is the emotional thesis of your script? Is it the ambition, reinvention, or the cost of carrying grief while the world calls you a legend?
So this one, the way I have it formatted now is coming to terms with your ambition and actually wanting something
Mhm.
and realizing that along the way while dealing with literally the grief that comes with it. So the way I have it structured now, um, and part of the reason it's called The Life and Many Deaths of Humphrey Bogart is because in his early career at Warner Brothers, he was a B actor.
Mhm.
He was in like 25 movies where he was killed, was shot. He was just one of the background
Mhm.
toughs. He was like sixth build character who just got killed off
Mhm.
for story purposes.
Mhm.
So in his early career, he was just killed off all the time. But um, he got tired of those roles and just kind of wanted to go deeper.
Mhm.
But I have it structured as a 5 act, literally the 5 stages of grief. And so uh, how he goes from not even wanting to be an actor, um, and then there's a major death associated with a major turning point role in his life and how those are intertwined within the stage of grief that he's dealing with at the time.
Oh,
So
okay.
you've got denial and depression and bargaining, anger, and finally acceptance. And acceptance is when he wins the Academy Award,
Oh, yes.
um, where
Yeah. I love it.
where where he doesn't even know if he wants it. Does he want it? He does because we'll finally make him. He was one of his best friends was Spencer Tracy, who'd already won 2 Academy Awards. So that was some good-natured ribbing between the two of like, how many awards have you won? Oh, right, none. But like it helped him, I think, come to terms with himself of like, okay, I am a good actor,
Yeah.
um, despite everything in the world.
Hmm. Everything in the world and coming from where I came from and all that I have lost.
Hmm.
Many biopics sanitize their subjects. Bogey was mercurial, volatile, and deeply complicated. What version of him did you refuse to soften in your script?
Um, the very complicated portion, um, his third wife, Mayo Methot, uh, they had a very volatile and toxic relationship. Um, they were called the battling Bogarts in the press because they would just get drunk and fight. Um, there were reports of her having black eyes. He apparently tore her dress off one time. Um, there was domestic abuse on actually both ends because she stabbed him one time, um, and apparently also brandished a gun at like a dinner party they were hosting, saying like, "If you leave me, I'm going to kill myself." So it was a very toxic relationship, and I thought that was important to show of just like you can be a screen legend, but also have trauma in your personal life that kind of comes out in some of your characters. Um,
Well, this sounds like this script sounds very exciting. It sounds better than what Bogey was. So I can't wait. 'Cause I
um,
know you stated earlier that you're in the rewrite phase of it, and as a writer, we know how many. We never know how many rewrites we're gonna do before we're
yeah,
like,
uh,
okay, I'm ready for the world to see it now. So
I have started sending out notes of like, hey, if you know of anyone looking for biopics, I have one.
mhm,
Like I feel like I'm in the it's ready to go out stage,
mhm.
but I'm sure if someone were to buy it, pick it up, option it, whatever, there would of course be more rewrites
Of
because
course,
there's
it's
always rewrites.
right until it's they say
Yeah,
cut on the final scene. So yeah,
until it is literally in the theaters or on screen,
yeah.
it's getting rewritten.
It's
So
gonna be
yeah,
written. That's what I tell people all the
yeah,
time. I say what you send in may not be what's gonna show up because it's gonna get rewritten. So
yeah,
don't have a precious mentality about it. Just
yeah. Um,
it is what it is.
it is
And that's the
it is
reason
what
why
it
I
is.
love talking to writers now because I want to know what was your inspiration? What was the amber or the whatever they call it that sparked it? What was your vision for it? And then when it comes out and see, oh, okay, it changed to this or grew to this, you know,
Hmm.
was it still in line with how your inspiration for it, your passion for it, you know how you came to terms with your final script. That's the reason why I love talking to writers because I
Hmm.
feel like we need to make sure that um, the people who had that inspiration, like Periwinkle, how you woke up to that, and had that in your head. Like no one would know that you woke up with periwinkle and it was like in the middle of the night. It was like, oh, that's a great, fantastic thing. Let me think about how can I write a story.
Yeah.
And then your inspiration of Bogart and how it's helping you therapeutically, work through your own loss in your life right now. So it's those kind of stories is so inspirational to me as a writer, and I pray is
Hmm.
inspirational to any novice or anyone who's watching this to know that you can get inspired from any place or any time in your life. And sometimes you pour blood and tears on the page. And continue to pour blood and tears until it's created and until it's done, until, like Colin said, it's in the movie theaters or on your television screen or in your
Yep.
hands as you're reading it. So I love
Yep.
that. But Colin, I just want to say thank you so much. And I know, like I said, you're still in the rewrite phase, and I'm excited about both of these projects, The Language of Monsters
Thank you.
and The Many Deaths of Humphrey Bogart. I'm so excited for both of them. And when you're ready to come back, when they're out, to promote it even more, feel free to come back to How Would You Write It? It's gonna
And that
happen.
is my hope, is that they will so
It's,
be out, and
we're
you know,
listen. When you're over here, it's gonna happen. Okay, that's what we're planning
I am
to do.
manifesting that the next time I'm on, I will be a New York Times or USA Today bestseller for
Yes.
Language of Monsters, and
Yes.
we're doing final cuts on Life and Many Deaths of Humphrey Bogart.
Ah, okay. That's what I envision too. That's what I envision for you to come back anytime, Colin. But before you go, where can people find you?
Okay. I am at collinlieberg.com. That is my website. My first and last name, COLLINLIEBERG.com. I'm also at Collin Lieberg at whatever Bluesky is. Um, LinkedIn. Those are the main places I'm on.
Okay.
You can
Now
contact me at any of those.
we're gonna put that here so you can go out and find him and keep up with him,
Hmm.
especially when the book comes out. And we're gonna, all have great, great hope because I definitely would love to see the many lives and deaths of Humphrey Bogart on screen. But one more thing, I always say one more. I always forget it's two things I have to ask you. Not one more thing, it's two things. So the very last thing I'm not gonna ask you, Colin, is if you had the very last blockbuster video store and someone came in and they wanted a recommendation of IP of what they should watch, what would be the two IPs you would recommend and why?
Star Trek is always going to be my number one, because Star Trek is so, it has inspired me
Mhm,
personally as a writer and a person, to just be more hopeful about the world.
mhm,
It has literally inspired a generation of astronauts
mhm,
and scientists and engineers. Um, I think her name was Rita Mae Jensen. She was the first Black American woman in space, I want to say, and she also was the first actual astronaut to appear on a Star Trek show. She appeared in an episode of Star Trek Next Generation.
yes. Mhm,
Um, but she watched the original series and was inspired to go into engineering and science and stuff because of the original series. And
mhm.
then that inspired her. So Star Trek is just so inspiring to me. Um, there are so many different things that I love about it. That just go watch Star Trek. Any
Go
of
watch Star
the
Trek. They have a
literally
new series
dozens.
out now. Yeah.
They do have it. Yeah, they have a new series out now. There are literally a dozen shows, 13 movies, 14 movies. Yeah. A bunch of movies to watch. So, there are ways in, if you like animation, if you like adventure, if you like spy stuff, if you like doctors, like there are, if you like the new Star Trek now is, I've heard described as 90210 in space with Star Trek. So I'm like, okay, that's fun too.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
um, it has something for everyone,
Yes. It
which
really
is
does.
what I like
And
about Star Trek.
I'm team Trekkie with you. I know you can't see it back there. I got a little small Enterprise. I have the book Star Trek. Where is it? It's back here somewhere. Uh Star Trek, the original series, behind the scenes,
Hmm.
about this thick book back there because I'm a
Yep.
Trekkie too. It inspired me to write when I was a little girl. I hated
Hmm.
cartoons. My sister was, Fred Flintstones, the Flintstones kind of cartoon, and I was like, I'm not a Hanna Barbera person as a little girl. Not saying I hated cartoons, but I just couldn't stand the Hanna Barbera uh, again, no diss to Hanna-Barbera. It's great cartoons. I saw them all. I watched them all. They were good cartoons. But then I got tired of watching them. So let's just say it like that. I got
Right.
tired of watching
Yeah.
Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah.
And I turned the channel and Uhura, her face, was right on screen. And I was like, who is that? And she looks like me. And I just started watching from there. And I noticed that she never got a chance to sit in the captain's chair, except in the cartoon. In the cartoon, she did, but she never got a chance on
Hmm.
this TV series to sit in the captain's chair. And so every episode, I would rewrite it where she was the hero, or she sat in the
Hmm.
captain's chair. So I would, and that's how I started writing as a little girl, watching Star Trek. And so, and to
That
this day,
is,
I still love sci-fi, and I still love
yep,
Star Trek.
that is amazing. That is awesome. Um, as for the second IP to recommend, honestly, I Humphrey Bogart, anything. But like there's honestly too much to choose from that has inspired me. Um, like just in this conversation, I've mentioned The West Wing, Star Trek,
Mm-hmm,
Star Wars, Humphrey
mm-hmm,
Bogart,
mm-hmm.
classic things. Um, I might recommend The Americans. It's one of my favorite shows of all
The
times.
Americans was great.
Was great. Um, there's so much fantastic stuff that I can't recommend at all. Ted Lasso, because one of my favorite shows of
Awesome.
looking forward to the new season. Um,
Wait, which one?
there's a fourth season of Ted Lasso coming out later this year.
What? I thought the last season was the last season. It was that was it.
They have finished the Ted Lasso in the male Premier League Richmond arc,
Uh-huh.
and the new season apparently is Ted is recruited to the new Richmond women's team. He's going to be the coach of the Richmond women's team that they briefly hinted at the very end of season three.
Oh, this is gonna be good. I'm so excited. Okay, I'm so excited. I didn't know that. You just gave me great news. Okay, okay.
Yep.
Well, again, thank you so much, Colin, for coming on. How would you write it? And like I said, you are welcome back anytime, anytime.
Thank you for
Let
having
me know
me.
and just say, hey, Tay, I would like to come on, and I got you. Um, to the audience and creators and novices right now who are struggling because the world is not conducive to being creative, all I can say is keep trying, keep at it, because being a creative, and I believe Colin would agree with me, is is lonely, is sometimes difficult. It is pouring out your heart and soul onto whatever you're working on as a creator, but it's the gift that you've been given, and your gift
Hmm.
never really truly leaves you alone. It's gonna
No.
call to you. It's gonna, those stories, those characters, that dialogue is going to call from you in the middle of the night, and you're gonna wake up with periwinkle on your on your tongue. And it's gonna keep working on you until you flush out that story and you write your novel. You draw your canvas, or you get in front of your computer and you type it up. Whichever way, it is meant for you to continue on. So keep
Hmm.
going. We all believe in you. Don't look at the world, look at the gift that you've been given, and keep going, because the world needs to see what you have created. And with that
It
being
does. But that actually reminds me of one other thing, one other place you can find me.
said,
Um, I run a monthly Zoom networking group called the Virtual Happy Hour,
yes.
um, which has been going on for almost 6 years now. Every month, just a bunch of creatives get together to talk about whatever's on your mind.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to talk about your story idea, if you just want to talk about, uh, if you're entering a contest, should you enter a contest? Are you going somewhere? uh, a way to make friends and be less
Alone with
lonely and more connected
mhm. And have that support and have
and
that
have that support.
yeah. So definitely if you're creative and you're a writer, a screenwriter, a writer, reach
Mhm,
out to Colin because he has these monthly meetups and it helps you feel less alone. It helps you find other creatives that you can bounce ideas off of, and you
mhm,
can find better writers than you can read your stuff and give you feedback on. So, and
mhm.
that's one of the positive aspects of joining and networking and learning and having friends who are in the industry and who are not who are trying to still gain their foot into the industry. So please reach
Mhm.
out to Colin if you are interested.
And 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 having people read your work and give you feedback is scary and daunting. We write something that is so close to our heart, we don't want anyone to see it sometimes because it's not ready, or I'm not a good writer, or you have all these fears in the back of your head. Um, and if you don't want to share it with anyone and you just wanted to write it, that is fine. You're still a writer. You can still screenwrite.
You're still a
Uh,
writer,
it,
but
you're still a writer.
we
You're
suggest you
still a creative.
feedback.
You're still a whatever. Um, doesn't make you any less than.
That's
But if you want to improve your craft, if you want to just, dip your toes in the water, see what's happening, people are willing to read your work and offer feedback. And learning to take feedback with grace is a skill that happens.
mm-hmm.
Um, Almost everyone I know who gives feedback isn't trying to tear you down as a writer. They're
Yes,
trying to help improve the story.
yes.
And understanding that is can be a little traumatic sometimes because again, we're so close to these stories of you're like, but you hate what I wrote and you hate my work. And you're like, no, no, no. There's so much possibility here, and I want to see it bloom and blossom to make it even better.
And
Um,
that is practice for when you have it in a producer's or a director's hands and they're giving you notes. So it's
yes.
best to try to learn how to get feedback and with grace and understanding
Mhm.
the note behind the note that they're trying to give you.
Exactly.
You need
Yes.
that muscle.
You need that muscle. And as something new that I have started doing with the happy hour this year is I'm having someone somehow related to the industry, whether it's a writer or an exec or a producer or somebody, come in for a little bit of time and actually have a Q&A to talk about something, whatever, you were a writer on X TV shows. Can you talk about how you broke into the room, or what is your writing process like? Or, everyone will get an opportunity to ask a question for part of the happy hour.
That's
Um,
fantastic, Colin. Again,
mhm.
reach out to Colin and try to get a part of this. Okay. Please, like especially novices, and I say novice in the lightest term because just like Colin said, if you have written something, you are a writer. You're not a novice, you are a writer. I'm saying novice as
Mhm.
you're newly coming into this industry and trying to step your toe and trying to meet the right people and make connections. That's what I mean by that.
Mhm.
Again, Colin, thank you so much for coming on. And thank
Thank
you
you for having me.
for joining us on How Would You Write It? And we will see you next time.
Thank you.